Today, Adam's going to teach us how he plays music and how he makes the weekend review sound cool. Welcome, everybody, to our webinar on music. And as I mentioned in the Week in Review, introing this, Adam is stupid talented when it comes to music. Seriously, like, not only is he gifted playing the piano and playing a whole bunch of different instruments, but he also is a composer. Like, he again invents music in his mind and he pulls it all together. He lays tracks on top of each other. He uses his keyboard, instruments, a whole bunch of software. It's crazy ridiculous. And one of the coolest things, getting to know Adam over the last little while, is seeing how he can take ideas that I share with him specifically around the Week in Review and then turn it into something that is pretty awesome and pretty amazing. Today we're in for a treat. Adam has done a crazy amount of prep for this webinar. There is so much behind the scenes things happening right now in order to make this come across pretty seamlessly. Adam, applause to you for all of the hard work that you've done on this one. Sir, are you all ready for this?
I believe so. I think
You believe so?
I've got the computer all wired up, the microphone and the right input. It's gonna be interesting. This is my very first kind of live stream doing something like this, a live stream webinar. So I've got like 3 screens going on right now, trying to keep track of it all. I've got my phone hanging up from the ceiling so you can see my keyboard from above. It's a
Well,
pretty
I'm
intense.
excited, man. And I got my ukulele.
Awesome.
All right, brother, I'll hand it over to you.
All right, thank you very much, DJ. Let's see if we can make this transition seamless as well. All right, well, hello everybody. Thank you for joining in this live stream. You've got a bit of a chance to get into my head to see how I write music and how some of these week in review videos and songs kind of come together. I'll talk a bit about my experience writing music, both just for fun and also writing music to like movies or short films or a scene from a TV show, which I recently did. And for HBO's Westworld, that was a really cool experience, because I've just had so much passion for music over my life, and I will get a bit into that. But first, I want to share a video with you. Um, it has to do with music and this quarantine, everything with COVID. So I want to see if I can get this to work properly. I'm going to switch over to a different screen. So this is a video of someone who has tried to make the best out of the whole COVID situation, and I hope you enjoy it.
Hey, so as some of you guys might know, I'm a music teacher, and I found that one of the best ways that I can process the whole transition to online learning and teaching is to write a song. So I wrote a song. I'd like to share that with you guys now. Here we go.
Well, I hope you found that entertaining. I certainly did, and that certainly I think speaks volumes to how we all feel sometimes with this quarantine. Um, yeah, sometimes music is just the best way to let out those emotions. Just sometimes you just gotta scream, just gotta let out your angers and frustration. So during this webinar, during this live stream, there is a chat function in with YouTube. It's called the live chat or top chat, or that's how it's sorted. If you have any, questions or comments, anything that you want to ask me, or you want to just kind of throw something out there, please by all means um, put some stuff in the chat box. I've got another screen here monitoring that, so I will do my best to respond to everything that comes through. Just please be aware that there is a bit of a delay in terms of what I see and say versus when you see it on YouTube. So the first thing I want to do is just tell you guys a bit about my experience as a musician. So I grew up working through the Royal Conservatory of Music, doing private lessons, studying piano and theory, and I've been doing that since I was 5. So now over goodness, actually I'm forgetting my age right now. About 20 years playing music, studying music. DJ says, "Can you do a rendition of that song?" I will consider it. Let's put it that way. So I've been studying music my whole life, and I've been writing my own music. I think I started that in about high school, and that was just simple stuff with a guitar or with a piano, just writing music and having fun discovering how people can put chords together and put words to it. Although I was never much of a poet or lyricist, I really enjoy doing instrumental music. I've been actually recording some of those songs, maybe for only the past 7 or 6 years. Since when I started in university with my roommate, he was a very musical guy as well. So we'd write music together, try to record it, and sometimes it was very sloppy. Sometimes it was decent, but that was a lot of fun to do. And I've recently taken it a step further and invested in some pretty big kind of music tech so that I could record music on a bit more of a professional level. So the software that you're looking at right here, it's called a digital audio workstation, and that is how I input all my music, and I can mix it, I can put all these different effects on it, and it's a really fun way to do music, really. I bought a few different keyboards that I can try doing like multiple crazy things at the same time. But yeah, the biggest investment that I've had is what are called virtual instruments. And virtual instruments are essentially a digital version of a real instrument. So right now, if I were to play, I have the piano selected. Oh, that's not going through. Let me change that. There we go. You should be able to hear me playing the piano now. Bear with me again, as this is my first time doing so. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just playing my keyboard, and then that's sending information to the computer, and then the computer says, oh, he's playing this specific virtual instrument. So I play a C, and then the computer says, oh, you need to play this note. The cool thing is, because this is just data that I'm telling the computer, I can change the instrument to something completely different, and the computer interprets the music notes. It'll give me a different sound, so I can switch to electric guitar. And I still play my keyboard, but it now sounds like a different instrument. It sounds like an electric guitar now. I can also do that with drums. And so this is a very easy way for someone who knows piano to play like a whole band. I can play like a strings section, playing very light notes. I can switch to a ukulele, even though I do have a real ukulele here. I can also play those same things with the virtual ukulele. So there's huge amounts of versatility available to musicians who have this sort of software, because all you need is a keyboard and then these virtual instruments, many of which are free, and they're freely available to people to download and mess around with. But of course, if you want to get the really high quality ones, you have to pay for them. So that's what I've been trying to do, is I've been trying to build my library of virtual instruments so that I can play, you know, an entire orchestra, or I can play, you know, like a garage band with guitars and basses. So it's super fun if you are a musician who wants to, you know, expand your kind of music palette in terms of writing music. You can do that with, you know, just a piano, and it's been great being able to do that, you know, with the whole lockdown going on, because I can't go out and have a jam session with friends. I have to, you know, stay home, and I can still write music for an entire band just here in this, you know, in this one chair with this one keyboard. So what I want to do is I want to share some of the Week in Review songs that I've written for DJ for his videos, and kind of break down what I've done in that process, because I think a lot of people, you know, want to write music, and it's normal to want some sort of creative outlet, but a lot of people don't know where to begin with that sort of thing. So something like this kind of background music, I'm just going to play a bit of the track, the beginning part. And again, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to put it in the chat. I'll see if I can respond them right away. But this is one of the newer songs that I've written for DJ. Just the opening, you know, first minute or so. So visually speaking, what we can see here is we have these different channels, and I've just got them color coded so it's easy for me to distinguish them. If we look at the guitar here, we can double click and we can see this is just data that I've sent the computer. These are the notes. The higher the notes, the higher the pitch. So if I switch over to that, we can see while I play on the keyboard, if you want to look in the bottom corner, you can see my hand playing the keyboard. We can see the keyboard actually reflects the notes I'm playing. You can see it lighting up. So as I play and as I record just this data, it'll record the length of the note that I'm playing, the notes itself that I'm playing, and it records all this information. And then the software takes that information and it produces the sound that I want it to play, which in this case is the guitar. So we can visually see where I'm putting in notes. We can see here there's a bit of a blank section where I didn't do anything with this particular guitar, but on this other guitar, it's playing stuff the whole way through. So we can solo that and just listen. and we can hear it playing this guitar instead, and we see all these chords that I'm playing. They're all playing at the same time. DJ says, how do you beat master it all? Well, DJ, there's a wonderful thing called a metronome, and simply all I do is as I record, I have the metronome activated. So if we were to solo, or if we were to mute everything, actually let's just put in a trumpet so we can hear the trumpet. Oh, no, we can't because I don't have it selected. So if I were to record just the trumpet, I can hit record. And we hear that clicking, that metronome is what's going to keep me on beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll stop recording that. Now, I can't remember actually what key signature I did this song in, so this may sound completely horrible, but let's find out. And the trumpet is very quiet, so we can't even hear it. It's probably due to a low volume setting because I didn't want it blaring too loudly. But the idea is as I record with the metronome, I can keep it all in beat. So that's how we keep it together. So yeah, so that's kind of the digital audio workstation in a bit of a nutshell, how I can lay out each individual instrument. I can do the drums. I can layer in the guitars, other than the bass to finish it off. But there can be really complex songs as well, which involve a bunch of different instruments and a lot of different methods of recording. I can also put in some audio clips. So if I wanted to sing for a song, I can sing into the microphone, and it goes through to the recording software. So if you are someone who wants to, write music, something you might be wondering is, well, how do I actually just start that? Like I'm kind of jumping into the deep end with some of this stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from scratch. So we don't need to save anything there. We're going to start a new project, just an empty one. And all we're going to start with is a piano, because chances are you have a piano at home. Maybe just a keyboard, or if you have guitar, if you know basic chords. David says, let's hear rapping. No, I am not going to do any rapping. Simone says, what program am I using? This program, this audio workstation, is called Cubase. It's a fantastic program. Cubase. You can find it online. It's a bit technical. It can be a bit tricky to get a hold of, but there are tons of tutorials online which will help walk you through some of the basics. If you wanted to explore this program specifically, you can download a free trial from their website. I can even put a link in the chat if anyone is interested. It's from a company called Steinberg, and they just do incredible work with sort of software. So I will copy and paste. Oh, not that one. Okay. I'm juggling a few too many things right now. Sorry. So I'll be able to send like a follow-up afterwards. So I can share some of that with you guys afterwards. Josh asks, how does it compare to FL Studio? I've never actually used FL Studio. I know a lot of people swear by it, and they say that it's fantastic, and I know that there are some producers and people who write pop music, and they use it, and it's they swear by it. I've just never personally used it myself, so I can't speak to that. There is a free software called Reaper, Reaper, and that one is pretty beginner friendly as well. It doesn't have a lot of limitations, which can be very daunting, but it can be very beginner friendly. So if we're back here starting with writing just piano music, you can see as I play my keyboard, the notes appear on the keyboard as well. So the first thing that you really need to know if you want to write songs is, painfully obvious, but you need to know music theory. Of course, people can kind of just guess and play. I'm just going to play just the white notes, like that's totally fine. A lot of songs are written in just using the white notes of the keyboard, just C major. But if you want to get a bit more creative and you want to try new chord progressions, so rather than just your standard, if you want to throw in some fun transitions, some kind of jazzy chords, you really need to understand the music theory behind all that. And there is so much behind music theory that I won't be able to explain it all right now. But basically, if you have your key signature, your just C major, just the white notes of a keyboard, you can play chords with those. So we have C major chord, which is just the first, the third, and the fifth. So that's C major. And then if we jump to the F major chord, which is F, A, and C, another chord, we can do the G major, which is G, B, D, and we can finish off with the C major. So that can be a simple, great starting chord progression. If you want, just to try something out, if you want to sing on top of that, I'm not going to sing because like I said, I write more instrumental stuff. So what I can do is I'm going to record just a simple 4-bar loop of those chord progressions. And so let's zoom in a bit on there. And we will loop that. Forgetting my shortcuts here. There we go. So now if I play this, we can hear it's just playing back the very piano piece that I just played. And it loops back to the beginning. So what I can do now is I can start playing around with a melody. And I can start playing something maybe in the higher register of the piano. So something very simple like that is all you need to start writing music. You need a simple chord progression and a melody. Now the melody doesn't necessarily have to be singing, as I just showed. You can just play piano on top of that. So if you have a simple chord progression, you can start layering things on top. So I'm going to get a little bit crazy, and we're going to add another instrument on top of this. But it's not going to be piano. I'm going to add a kind of like a guitar or ukulele sounding sort of instrument. So this is another virtual instrument that I have, and this one is actually free. It's from Spitfire Audio. It's called Labs. It's completely free if you download it, and you can use it in any digital audio workstation. So something like Cubase or Reaper or FL Studio. It's fully compatible, and you can put in these instruments. So if I start playing this, I can still, again, just play my keyboard, but it's playing now a guitar sound. And the cool thing with these virtual instruments is I have a little dial here at the end of my keyboard. It's called the modulation wheel. And what it does is it's affecting one of the effects here on the screen. So this wheel, if I keep it down, it's a pretty quiet sound, but if I turn it up, it gets a bit more intense. It's a bit of a stronger sound. So what I can do is, as I'm playing, I can adjust the modulation wheel to add intensity to the song, because sometimes if I just hit the note harder, it can add more depth to it, but the modulation wheel is really effective, especially for something like a strings instrument. So actually, I'm going to switch over to I'll switch over to a strings patch. So as I play, when I hit a note, I can't change the volume of the note anymore, because it's just I hit it once. I can't do anything to change it. But if someone's playing an actual like violin, they can dig a bit harder into the bow, and it adds that intensity to it. So what I can do is, instead of trying to press the note harder, I can press the note with one just hit. But I can use the modulation wheel to add intensity. And that adds a bit of realism, because realistically, a string player wouldn't just stay at one volume the entire time. They'd put emotion into it. They would add intensity as they play a longer note if they want to get louder. But with piano, you can't do that. You can't just, it wouldn't sound natural to add volume halfway through a note. Josh asks, can you play the opening theme to Westworld? So I don't actually watch Westworld. I haven't listened to the music of it much either. But I did mention that I had gone into a competition with the Westworld, with a scene from Westworld. So actually, I will switch over to that right now just to show you guys. So this is my complicated kind of setup. So here, let's get rid of this. So here you can see I have a bunch of different tracks now, and they're all cutting in and cutting out. And what this is it follows the scene. So writing, I find there's a huge difference between writing songs for, like radio, where you can have just pure freedom. You can write whatever you want. You don't have to be limited by anything, versus writing music to a scene, to a score like this. Because when you write music for like a movie scene or a TV show, you can't let the music overpower the the audio, the sound effects, what's going on with the video. The music is only meant to enhance it. So what I do is I try to pick the points where I want the music to come in a bit louder, because there's not much dialogue happening on the screen, versus when there's no dialogue, then you can get big with the intensity. So because of some YouTube copyright issues, I can't really play the entire video in the live stream. So I'll leave it here for a little bit, but I'll have to move it over. But if we play this, hopefully it works.
We're approaching now. Stand by, got it.
We hear the music kind of creeping quietly.
Verified. Enable semi-automatic control.
I
Disable
don't want the
safety
music
features.
to overpower this
Maximum
dialogue.
speed. Go.
But now that there's no dialogue, we can bump up like the drums, the intense music, because there's nothing for it to interfere with. But when we switch to a quieter part,
I think he's switching genres.
we're back into a dialogue section. And this doesn't have to be a high intensity moment, because we're seeing him going through something really weird right now. But as it pulls away, we start to build
We need
intensity.
distance. Head south.
And again, we can get a bit louder with the drums, because there's nothing And then another example of that could be a big build-up when he fires like a rocket. There's no dialogue going on, but we want to build intensity with the music. And then I thought it'd be kind of funny, hey, he missed, so let's just cut the music out as like an awkward, like, he just missed, so it's kind of this awkward silence now.
I missed.
Hold on.
But it's coming back, and the music can pick up again, and it starts to build intensity as it's honing in on its targets. And then big explosion. So yeah, I don't want to get copyrighted by YouTube, so I'll stop the video there. So yeah, so we got some comments here from GJ saying, that's crazy awesome. How long did it take to pull that together? I think this took me about maybe 12 to 15 hours over a few days. So it was mostly in the evenings where I would watch the video, try to pick my spots. Like you can see I have these markers in here, like go, what's happening, head south, far, close, fire, rocket. Those were my markers where I wanted something big to happen with the music, because that we see that the scene is changing. And yeah, so a lot, it came down to, I was just trying to pick my spots. I put in some kind of electro cello synthy sounds because it's a futuristic kind of scene going on. We have these self-driving cars, and then yeah, it took a lot of just trial and error, trying different things, different instruments, different ways to build up the intensity. I had to drop out a lot, so this here shows the volume of the music, not the dialogue, so I had to make sure it wasn't getting in the way. But yeah, so that is kind of a bigger project, and how I write music for it. Again, these are all virtual instruments here, using just a keyboard, and then these cool instruments that I can just play keyboard and it plays, you know, like brass or cello or like drums. So yeah, that's been really cool to explore some of that. And if these sorts of things, interest you, if you find it really cool and you want to kind of, ask me more about it, please, again, put something in the comments, or if you want to send me a message afterwards, I'd love to chat more about this sort of stuff. But I think we'll go back to the week in review stuff now. So let's close that. And we're back here with our piano riff. It just has to reload this instrument, so let's make sure it's still playing. It is. And what instrument? So we do have the strings. You know what? Let's add a strings layer onto this. So we know we're working with C major. So I'm going to stick with just, the C major scale. I'm not going to do anything crazy. But what I can do is I'm going to double this. So now I have a bit of a longer loop. So we'll have a piano intro, and then we're going to record some strings over top of it. Alright, so I made a bit of a mistake in there, so if we listen to it again, it's going to come in a bit loud and early. Haha. But the beautiful thing is that because this is not sound, this is just data. It's just information that the computer turns into sound. So what we can do is we can edit it. We can shift things around. I didn't like this A. I'm going to drop it down to a G. We're going to look at what I was doing with the modulation wheel. And we can see that, yeah, it spiked a bit early. It was a bit loud to start. So what I'm going to do is select these, and we're just going to lower it down a bit so it's not as intense. And I can shape this a little bit more so it gets more intense halfway through. So now if we listen to it, again, I don't don't like that one being right there, so we're going to just nudge it over a little bit. Oh, we have a lock snapping to the grid, so we're going to shift over a little bit. Actually, all of these were a little bit off. Kind of wanted them to come in a bit slower. Now it sounds a bit too slow. But this is the nice thing. This is just data. All it's doing is it's telling the virtual instrument, okay, play this note for this long, then play this note, then play this note. Okay, it doesn't sound horrible. I mean, I'd get a bit more nitpicky with it, but I'm not going to bore you guys with that right now. So let's add another instrument. Let's add some sort of kind of bell sound. So handbells. It's kind of a cute, fun sound. So let's put this over top with those. Okay. So again, that's just a simple little sound. Let's see how that works. Nope. Oh, I just want to see this one. And again, it's easy for me just to go through and change some of these notes because I'm like, on second thought, I didn't like that. So I can play it again. Josh says, I'm a super fan of Westworld and the composer. Oh yes, yeah, Ramin Djawadi. He did the first Iron Man movie, and I really liked that score. And he's also done, I think, Game of Thrones as well. Do you know if he would create the music for the show in the same way as you showed us, or would he have a live orchestra? It completely depends. A lot of composers will do what I'm doing now, just to sketch out ideas, just to get it down, and they can present it as a demo reel or like a quick sketch to the director, the music supervisor, whoever else is going to be making the final decision. And if they might say, no, we hate that. So it's a pretty good thing they didn't hire an orchestra to record all that, because they hated it. They didn't want that. So they will do this, just a quick sketch, give it to the director, and if they say, yeah, we love that, they might leave it as is. They might even just polish up the demo, or chances are they will hire a live orchestra. They'll make the sheet music based on that demo, based on that sketch, then hire a live orchestra to record the final soundtrack for the TV show or for the movie. And that's very common for movies to have a live orchestra. I'm not entirely sure with TV shows, just because of how quick they need the music to be completed and finished. So I think with Westworld being an HBO, they got a pretty good budget. They might hire live orchestra each time, but they would start with just a sketching kind of practice like this. They wouldn't hire an orchestra until they know for sure this is what we want. Great question, Josh. So with these, I can also adjust the velocity, how hard I hit the notes. So if I play it really quietly, it's pretty quiet. If I hit it loudly, it's much louder. And these bars here indicate how loud each note is. So I want to bump these ones a bit more. And we can hear it again. That one's really quiet. Alright, right, that doesn't sound too bad. DJ says, will this program spit out the score or the sheet music? Yes and no. Yes, in that if I wanted to, I could open this up in an editor and make the editor show me the actual score. But as you can see, it's not very readable. It's clumping it all together in one clef. And normally with piano, you have, you know, your bass clef and your treble clef. And even at that, it's not showing proper like the full notes. It's trying to split it up into a bunch of different things. So Cubase isn't great for pumping out sheet music. But what you can do is you can export this data. It's called MIDI data. You can export that and put it into a different software which specializes in writing sheet music. So it'll specialize in turning these notes into actual readable music. The other option is to just do it all kind of from scratch, like using the MIDI data, but then someone inputs it all by hand still to the software. So there are a few different ways. Some are more reliable than others. So let's add another layer to this now. So let's copy this over. We don't need that little guy. Let's copy this over. And now we are going to add yes, we'll do labs again. We'll add that guitar that I wanted to do originally, the moon guitar. And so now we're going to move into this kind of third section where we're building up. We're adding more instruments. What do I even want to do? I don't know. Let's try. Sounds too bad. I'm thinking that might be a bit too high pitch. How? Yeah, so we can just drop it down an octave. Over. Okay, not bad. Now let's get some drums in here. This one's for you, DJ. I know how much you love fake drums, even though I know you don't. Okay, so drums. Let's put drums in here. So the thing though with some of these virtual instruments is that they can sound very what's called dry, and it's just, it doesn't sound like it's really in a room. So what this virtual instrument has what's called reverb, and that adds a bit of an echo. So if I play it without the reverb, now it kind of sounds like it's actually in a room. Yeah, so I like that. So let's think of what kind of drum beat we would put onto this. So let's again add let's repeat it again so that the drums come in here. And I don't know what the beat is going to be. Let's see what happens. That was a bit sloppy. thanks to technology, it is easy to fix those sorts of weird, wonky mistakes. So let's see what we have here. Ooh, see, like that's weird over there. Let's bump you back a bit. These are getting weird. DJ says, are you able to connect or layer actual instruments like your ukulele behind you? Does your system have an... Yes, so I am able to. So let's do that. Let's add an audio track. So if I were to record this right now, let's see, is it actually going to record? 1, 2. No, it is not doing that right now. I need to quickly do that. I believe that will do it. 1, 2. Okay, there we go. So we can see the waveform, and that means it's playing. 1, 2. Okay, there we go. So we can see the waveform. All right. So now that that's working, let's grab the ukulele. What key? We're in C. Wow, that is way out of tune. One moment. Okay, there we go. So yeah, what chords did I play? Okay, yeah, let's record some of that in there, see how that goes. Very quiet. So what I can do is what's called normalizing. So that will bring up the volume, but I fear that's going to be very loud. So let's solo it just to listen to this one by itself. Okay, not too bad. The only problem is we have a lot of that static background because I don't really have this microphone set up for proper recording right now. Like I said, I do a lot of just virtual stuff using digital instruments, but let's see how that sounds all together. Wow, that is not on beat. There we go. Let's slide that over so it's actually on beat. Man, you'd think that I'm a musician. Okay, not bad. There we go. So yeah, so that's how we can record some live instruments and throw them in there as well. But of course, once you've recorded the audio, you can't really do much with it. So if you record audio, you're kind of stuck with it. Thankfully, I was able to at least cut it a little bit so I could slide over parts of it. But yeah, that's why I prefer virtual instruments. They are much more forgiving if you play something a bit wonky or weird. Okay, so yeah, so that is the ukulele in there. What sort of things should we throw in on top of this? Let's do another one. If you guys have any instruments that you want to hear thrown into this song, do let me know. The problem with having so many options is it's incredibly difficult to decide sometimes. Dulcimers are interesting. They are kind of a medieval style sounding instrument. Let's make you louder. Okay, yeah, let's throw that in there as well. DJ says more cowbell. Okay, give me a minute on that one. Alright, I think we're starting to get what's called the volume creep, where everything is getting a bit too loud, so we're drowning out the other instruments. So let's play that through again. Alright, doesn't sound bad at all. Alright, so we've got cowbell, pan flute, bagpipes, and French horn. Ooh, yes, there's a fantastic French horn that I have with this software. And the cool thing with the French horn is because it's, you can control it with your breath. It's you can use the modulation wheel to add some intensity in there. So solo French horn. Okay, let's add this one in. This one's going to take a bit longer to load than the others because it's a bit larger files, but it will sound fantastic nonetheless. So let's see if we can make that a bit louder. Star Wars fans, anyone? It's one of my favorite bits of music. Okay, so let's again do good old copy and paste. Oops. Something went weird there. Alright, let's do this. It's probably easier. And now let's add French horn. Here, we'll see how that goes. Actually, no, that's not bad. I'll leave it in there. So yeah, so that's adding another instrument. Oh, it's already almost 1 o'clock. Look at that, time's flying. Let's also, okay, let's add in a flute as well, because flutes are pretty amazing. Orchestral woodwind, solo flute. Okay, actually we'll switch to this one, because this one specifically allows me to do kind of short staccato notes and long notes at the same time. Okay, so let's do one more big copy and paste. And we are going to record some flute. All right. There was a really weird note in there. I apologize for that. Let's go in there and fix that. Why would I play a B when we are clearly doing an F major chord? Okay, let's put that. So yeah, so something like that doesn't sound, horrible. I wouldn't necessarily publish this one, but yeah, that's just a very, very kind of quick overview of how I write music. And if this is inspiring to you at all, please feel free to reach out. I can send some links to get you some beginning software. And yeah, it's really fun. You just start with a basic chord progression. You can start layering things on top. Try different instruments. Try, you can keep it simple. You can make it, you can big and orchestral, but whatever is working best for you in terms of how you want to express yourself musically. I hope this has been interesting for you guys. And if you joined in a bit late, or you want to share this with others, this video will be live on my channel, so I will make sure that you can share that around. But yeah, I hope you all had a fun hour listening to me ramble on about music and write some mediocre music. I'd give it a 3 out of 10 just because I'm I'm my own worst critic. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I will play some music as the outro. So have a great day, everyone.
Bye.